Welcome, we are back with another episode of Zero to Hero, Tank Edition. We've just finished our Demon Hunter, and now it's time to move on to bigger and better things. Yeah, that wasn't very funny. This time, we're going to be playing a new character we've never played before, Guardian Druid. From the reviews I've seen on this character, there's two things to expect: easy gameplay and carpal tunnel. So make sure you do your wrist exercises before and after gaming. But if you're a hardcore gamer and fapper, you don't need to worry about this. Just keep doing what you do best. I'm switching up the rules a little bit this time around. I found making my own keys was a little bit too easy this season, so I can only join people's keys this time. And of course, we're still riding it solo like my boy Jason Derulo. No gold transfers, no hopping on my ult to send myself a small fortune. We gotta start from the bottom like my boy Drake. Unlike the last character, this is a fresh ult, so there's no connections to anything. With all that out of the way, let's move on to the reason why you all clicked on this video. You want to know how to get fast eye level without crafting on a fresh 80 character. Well, let's dive right in. We're kicking off our fresh 80 looking like this. We may be down bad right now, but just give it a few hours and we're going to be looking fresher than Subway. Just a little side note as well, I've got into chapter 3 of the campaign, so if you haven't done that already, do that. That alone will net you a nice decent eye level, and at the end of it, you'll receive a cloak. This is also a must-have cloak if you want to enter the new dungeons. Alright, first things first, we gotta pick up our weekly quest. Not only does the cash drop gear, it also gives you crest and most importantly, coffer keys. These will come in handy a little bit later. After picking up the free quest, I will head on over to Bran and skip all of that nonsense.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
To the right of Bran, there will be a quest that will drop you a 694 belt, so pick that up and we'll come back to that later. Now, it's time to pick up all our Renown quests. If you've played this since season 1, you've probably stacked this up over time. Collecting all this stuff will give you a bunch of coffer keys, valor stones and crest. These will all boost up the gearing process. The first two can be found in Donegal. This will be for the Ring Deep area and Donegal. After this, I will head over to this fine gentleman here and pick up the campaign quest, and then just skip it. Of course, if you've not done the campaign to chapter 3, you're basically cooked and will need to spend the next hour or so doing this. After skipping the campaign, head over to this fella over here and pick up your back. Upon pickup, it is only 694, but after either speaking to him or running this script, you can max out your cloak. This script can also be used anywhere on the map, so if you have a few ults where you need to max this out, run this script and save yourself the time of flying over. While I'm in this zone, I will also pick up my Renown quest from this guy. I'll then make my way over to AH Gear and speak to my girl Charlotte and pick up my other Renown quest. And then over to Hallerfall to collect even more crest and coffer keys. I then noticed the theatre was about to start, so I hauled my ass over there and cleaned that up to collect more coffer keys and potentially better gear. And last but certainly not least, I picked up my final Renown quest from this dude in the Undermine. Now it's time to move on to our weekly quest. The 5 Timewalking dungeon is the one I'm ticking off my list first. As a tank, you will quickly find a key. And not only that, because you are now level 80, you can potentially get some 655 eye level drops. And even if you don't, you can just beg in the chat like I did. After completing your 5 dungeons, head on over back to the lady and hand it in, and you'll get yourself a champion piece loot from the new raid. Just to help out our eye level a little bit more, I bought a few 600 eye level gear from the auction house. I didn't want to spend too much gold, so I only bought gear if it was 150 gold. And now, after buying a few pieces of loot and finishing off one quest, we are looking like this.
Nice.
There is other options to getting decent eye level gear, and one of them is crafting 675 gear, but this costs a lot of money to stack yourself up. And because this is a Zero to Hero, I can't exactly send myself some money. It's also pretty pointless because the gear you get from delves is just as good. Speaking of delves, that's exactly where I'm heading next. Now, I know a few of you are wondering, why have I lowered it to a tier 8 instead of doing a tier 11? Well, because my eye level is so low, the chances of me surviving in 11 is pretty slim. Plus, the amount of time it would take to kill a mob just isn't worth it. So for now, we're just going to spam the 4 available bountiful delves on tier 8. This will maximize our eye level drops and crest. I'm not going to show any gameplay of the delves because it's pretty straightforward, but I think they're good to do on ult. Not only because they drop good gear, but you can also practice your rotation. After completing the first delve, you'll want to head back to Donegal and hand in your quest for the belt. Make sure before you leave, you pick up the next quest. This is because once you do one more delve, you will get a memory card. This will level up your belt. Repeat the same steps of picking up the quest and spamming your bountiful delves until they run out for the day, and you'll come out the other side with a maxed out belt and a bunch of gear. I also leveled up my gear a bit, but this was probably a waste. I thought I was going to cap on my Valor Stones, but it turns out I was just being an idiot, so don't do what I do and waste your Valor Stones. Save them. After our little daily adventure, we've ended up with 3 copper keys for tomorrow. So the next day comes and I will complete 3 tier 11 bountiful delves. Not only will this give me more gear, it will also give me gilded crest, which can be used for later to craft a weapon once I reach 60 crest. And now, because I waited and geared myself up a little bit, I didn't have to spend 20 plus minutes inside a tier 11 delve. I can now instead just fly through them without a care in the world. The tips for maximizing gear and currency inside of a delve is killing these mini elites that are scattered around the delve. They will offer you more undercoin, so you can either buy more keys, gear, or even this item. This will guarantee a hero track piece every week. Thankfully for us, we found 3 inside the delves, but we didn't even need to use any either, because the boss randomly spawned anyway. So after we killed it, we picked up our bountiful delve, which gives us a hero track hands. Utilizing all these tips that I've shared made us looking like this in just a few simple and easy steps. No crafting involved, just blasting some music and vibing out for a few hours. Now you can finally get into some real gameplay without needing to worry if you can survive the packs. Hopefully this helps some people. If you have any other ways of getting gear that's fast and easy, don't be shy and share this information with the group. Right, now it's time to get Mythic Plus ready. At this point, I'll be splashing some cash and some flask and enchants for my gear. The only item I will be enchanting for now is my cloak. This cloak is never going to be replaced, so I don't mind spending some big bucks to make it all shiny. I wanted a bit of entertainment for my first key, and just like my dating choices, I see a red flag and I just dive right in there. Of course, being the fine specimen that I am, it only took the leader a few seconds to swipe right.
Yes, 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 yes.
You know I love a bit of entertainment, so seeing both my DPS drop to avoidable damage on the second pull, I was already curling my toes waiting to see what was next. They even had my healer screaming like the Punisher because we couldn't sync up the kills on both of these mobs.
Wait. Just wait.
Hey. What would you do if you saw this mechanic laid out perfect for you? Option 1, run away and suck up all the balls and don't hit the boss. Or option 2, stand your ground and hit the boss while sucking up the balls. That's right, any sane person would go for option 2. But not my rogue, instead he went for option 1. But we're not all perfect, mistakes happen, just like when I Gareth bailed on my team. I didn't realise that ads were about to spawn there. I tried to loot back, but sadly we ended up losing our deserter in the process. Overall, this dungeon was pretty smooth. One tip I'd like to share is to tell your team to wait outside when doing the pack before the third boss. They can be annoying to group up, so making everyone wait outside and using line of sight to easily group them up can turn this pull into a cakewalk. I'm also not trying to brag, but I cooked on this last boss. I just knew rewatching the Teletubbies would help me understand these shapes again. I was grinning from ear to ear at the end of this key. We didn't get any loot from this key, and to be honest, I think we can just jump straight into 6s. This is going to be the sweet spot for maximizing gear and crests. Ideally, I would want to be doing 7s to get gilded crests, but I'm just going to stay here for a little bit in the hopes that I'd get some hero track gear and a few rune crests. But hey, there's still some entertainment to be had in 6s. We had a bit of a stinker on the first boss. If you guys remember in my Demon Hunter series, I told you how to play this boss perfectly. Roll the clip. With the first boss, I like to position myself near the eggs. This is because I want max uptime on my team's DPS. The only thing the DPS and healing actually need to do is not stand in the red zone. Because these are fixated ads, if they just stand in the green area, there's no way the boss can gobble them up. That's probably the only hard bit of the fight. If you died to the swirl, you're just an idiot. Unfortunately, no amount of pinging was making my team listen, so a few chomps later that spider was fully bricked up. Thankfully, this was a 6, so the damage output was just enough for my healer to keep everyone alive. Well, until the second alerting shrill anyway. On the final batch of spiders, I decided just to ping the boss and hope that my team would switch and focus it down, and thankfully they did, so we escaped destined death by the skin of our teeth. Things again got a little bit spicy later on. We accidentally aggroed the sentry, and with no more CC and kicks at my disposal, a few volleys went off and took out our healer. But it's fine, don't panic and use my battle res. Oh, well, it turns out I accidentally had my shadow meld on the button that I normally have battle res on. So not only did I not res my healer, I accidentally killed my entire group. But the real question is, did we die? Hell no, we didn't die. Bear never dies. Just spam Thrash and Iron Fur and you're basically an unstoppable juggernaut with fur. Our healer ended up having his moment of pure greatness on the second boss. For me, managing these two spiders in the second half of the fight can be a real pain. Not having unlimited amounts of CC and interrupts like I did on VDH kinda made me a bit lost in this fight, and honestly, I don't even know how to approach this in the future. Probably just bringing in a Death Knight will solve all these issues. I also fell victim to the not being able to be rooted when shifting into a different form. One minute I was safe, and the next minute I was heading face first into instant death. But we made out barely alive. Alright, enough bear puns. This was an okay dungeon. No insane wipes, so we still timed it with 4 minutes to spare. We got no loot, but we did snipe an easy roll on this trinket. It turns out it was better on my Warlock, but I just needed it as a stat boost. That's going to be all the keys for this episode. I will be away for the next 2 weeks, so hopefully there will be another episode next week, but if not, I have many other series you can watch while I'm away. So, if you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.